Hello everyone, I'm Bryce Merkel-Sasaki and we're here at Graph Connect Europe. And I'm talking today with Andy Mulholland, the VP and Principal Analyst at Constellation Research. So Andy, can you talk to me about how you first heard about graph databases and then Neo4j in particular?
Yeah, the graph database phenomena has been around for a while, and I use the word phenomena because it came in as people thinking in a different way. So it was founded because people were thinking in a different way. And it developed as the kind of companies, the kind of use cases I'm interested in, wanted to explore how they use data in a different way. So the passage through Google into social webs, into CRM, different types of marketing, led very naturally to graph becoming established as a very, almost I would say, the only way you can address some of these problems. Now, as we start to move towards the Internet of Things, the whole argument is multiplied many times over. The difference is we're now adding things to the content we've had before. That's content, people, plus things. Now, actually, if we think about ourselves, there are many more things that we all possess, which are already intelligent and already connected. So we now move the scale up many times over and how we want to use it. So the answer is graph. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. What are the most common applications you see the Internet of Things using graphs moving forward? So I know you've talked about smart farming. What are some of those chief applications you see where those two converge?
I often use smart farming for no other reason than it tends to get people to think, wow, even the farm industry has done this? The reality is that if we look at buildings, which are a very common environment now, you're talking about Deloitte's new headquarters building in Amsterdam having 22,000 sensors in it. Now, 22,000 sensors produce a lot of data, but it's not the kind of data that we're used to having. It's not kind of data around an application. And more particularly, how we use it is if a room goes cold, that's one aspect. But what else could make it go cold? So other sensors will report whether the doors and windows are left open, whether people have turned more lights on or off that's affecting temperature, etc. So we have an absolute mass of data coming from many different sensors, but we have no idea how the data fits together until an event occurs. Until one of the sensors says, I'm now moving out of balance, it's an event. Suddenly we now need to put all of that data into use. Not possible really in any other way because it's all about relationships, and graph is all about relationships.
Okay, great. And then where do you see graphs and IoT going in the future? We talked a little bit about some, where they are now or where they might be tomorrow. Where do you see it in like 5 or 10 years?
Well, the better way to think about IoT and the impact it's having is to actually use the word smart. So we're all quite familiar with the word smartphone, but if you actually think about what's going on that phone, services like Uber are smart services. They're actually using your position, your likes and dislikes to be able to make a real-time connection between you and the most appropriate cab under the most appropriate circumstances. Now think about smart homes. We've got Hive, Nest and other things. Cars are becoming smart. Cities are supposed to be becoming smart. So it's not that we have to kind of wait for something to happen. It is happening. All over the place, the price of processors has dropped, connectivity has become easy, so we've got it. So it's not a case of there's some kind of seminal event to kick it off. Actually, the event that really matters is the other way around. So we're now starting to talk about AoT, analysis of things. And the value comes from the analysis. So in looking forward, the more people want value from IoT, the more they're going to want to exploit the relationship between everything. And that leads them quite naturally back to the fact it's going to have to be graph.
Yeah. Okay, great. Any other thoughts on IoT, Neo4j, or graphs you want to add?
Well, I'll add a thought about Neo4j, of course. I often get asked about this question, and I remind people that when we start talking about hundreds, thousands of things being interconnected like this, it's very unlikely that somebody owns all of it. It's even more unlikely that the data will only be used by a single entity. the owner of the building, or you'll have service companies, you'll have companies who make the product, lease the product, whatever you like. Therefore, by definition, the database you're using cannot be contained within the license. It's going to have to be open source. As soon as you start saying open source, to be blunt and truthful, someone always wins because everyone goes with something. Why? Because they start to understand that something better than everything else, and since you want to share, that's what you do. Now, Neo4j occupies the principal position in the market. It's widely used. It has all the right characteristics. So my reply is quite simple. If you think you're going to be sharing with other people, then it's better to go with what people are already sharing already.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And then any other closing thoughts?
Only to thank you for letting me come along and share this thought. And hopefully, if you're a Neo4j person, you're going to be looking at one hell of a future, because there's an awful lot of things to be connected and an awful lot of data from them.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, and it was great talking to you today.
Thanks very much.
So.